In this video, we're going to be talking about the sealed modifier. And the sealed modifier is a modifier you can attach to a class that makes it so that class cannot be inherited. So let's go ahead and fire up a quick example project.
So basically, that's the end of the class. It cannot be extended or derived from anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
Startled me. I thought you meant that was the end of the video.
No, not exactly.
So we have a base class, and it's just a normal class. And there's a red squiggly in there, so I'm going to close and open the file. And then now we have a child class that implements the base class. And this is perfectly legal and valid C# code.
It's pretty standard. It's just
regular inheritance.
Yeah.
And if I were to want to disallow line 9 from being possible, I can go ahead and say sealed. Add the sealed modifier to the base class. And what that does is that makes it a compiler error that says cannot inherit from sealed class base class. And essentially, that's all sealed does.
Sure. I mean, that's very straightforward, but why would anybody want to do this?
It's mainly, there are two types of people in regards to the sealed debate. The one group says that a class should not be alterable when it is not designed to be alterable. So basically, a class should not be extended if it is not designed specifically to be extended. And there's another group of people who say that you should never disallow somebody from doing something that might benefit them, understanding that that person will know the consequences of what they're doing.
So it's kind of like the pessimist versus the optimist. There's the folks who say this class should be sealed and nobody should ever be able to inherit from it and add anything to it, while the other guys say, leave some options open down the road.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, I've had personal experience of trying to alter functionality of code in a way that I knew would work, but I was completely disallowed because the class I was trying to inherit was sealed.
Okay. I mean, right now, can you give an example? Can you demonstrate something that we may use all the time that is actually a sealed class? Like, for instance, what about the string class?
Oh, right. The string class is a sealed class. So if I were to, for example, try to inherit from it, we will get an error. Cannot inherit from sealed class string. And you'll actually notice a lot of the classes inside of .NET and the PCL are going to be sealed. That's just Microsoft's thing.
But it doesn't really put us at a complete loss. If we wanted to add some functionality to string, we could still do such a thing in our own application, couldn't we?
Yes,
we just couldn't do it through extending a class.
Right. If what we wanted to do was add additional functionality to a string, we could use extension methods. But
exactly.
If we wanted to change the way a string responds to methods that you might already call on it, then that's impossible.
Correct.
The final consideration for sealed classes, and this should not be a consideration at all, but I'm going to mention it, is that there is a small optimization that the compiler can do if you seal a class. Let's pretend that base class is actually inheriting from a bunch of other classes, and they have a bunch of virtual members. If I were to invoke any of the virtual members inside a base class and it wasn't sealed, the compiler would have no way to know at compile time who is going to be ending up being called. So it has to use the a virtual method call. But if I seal it, the compiler knows that nobody's ever going to implement base class or inherit from base class. Nobody's going to change the definition of these virtual members. Therefore, I can turn these virtual method calls into static method calls. And then you get, a few nanoseconds of performance every call site, or something like that. But it is worth mentioning, I suppose.
All right.
Outstanding. Anything else that you want to add?
The final consideration is that you cannot mix abstract and sealed, because that is an oxymoron. So, yeah.
You just wanted to say that word.
You've been just dying to work that word into the video.
Well, it's true.
It is true.
I mean, abstract is something you would inherit from. Sealed means you can't. So
yes.
No, I know.
I'm with you.
It's all good, Nelson.
You were excited to get to say that.
You were. We could all tell. So with that, does that pretty much conclude everything that you wanted to mention in regards to sealed?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and that will wrap up this video.